Hello everybody all over the world. Hi and welcome to HiGPS 233 post tough break update. Pretty Boy's pocket pistol. Is it any better? Short answer is a little bit, but not as much. So today is going to be a bit longer than the first one, and we're just going to examine the weapon a bit closer because it's pretty much has the same issues as last time. So if you watch the last video on it, it pretty much has all the issues there. So the main problem with this weapon is that, well, it doesn't do a lot of damage, so it's not good for killing, but on the upside you're supposed to heal when you hit somebody with it. And before you healed only 3 per hit, but now you heal 5, so it's quite the substantial amount more than it used to be, but it's still not very good, because you take more damage as you're holding it, and it's quite a lot actually. It's 25% more damage. Or no, excuse me, that's a 25% slower firing speed, and then 20% damage vulnerability on the user. So that means, like, if you get hit by rockets or sticky traps or body shots or headshots, they're gonna do a lot more damage when you're holding it, and also when you're on fire. Because normally you'd think, like here, oh, I'm just going to finish him off with this. Nope, you take crit damage plus 20% additional damage. So you die pretty quickly because Scout's already a pretty fragile class, and then you die even faster. So to give the short version pretty much within the first minute, the first 2 minutes, is that usually the health you gain back in combat isn't enough to justify not being able to kill the opponents faster. Because you have, in the game, you have something, you know, health and health regen, but you also have something called, what I like to call effective health. And that is, oh, if I shoot you and you shoot me, if I shoot faster, then you die faster, right? And then you have, like, into the equation, the healing. But sometimes you don't want the healing, you want the additional damage, so they die faster because of it. It's similar to, like, what I mentioned in the previous episode when it comes to Pyro with Air Blast, and that is, having Air Blast, like, effectivizes your health a lot more when you're a Pyro, because the enemy isn't able to damage you as well as if you didn't. And that's, like, one of the main issues with the Flog, is that you don't have anything to effectivize your health in any way, like this utility stat that it uses. But here, like here, you try to kill the heavy and you can't because you're bad, I'm bad. But the main idea is, I can either shoot slower and be more durable, or I can shoot faster and kill them faster, and thus, like, slowing down the battle a lot by, like, living longer. So I also tried different unlocks, and I figured out that the stock works pretty much the best with this thing, because you have to play a very certain way. You can't really use it as a normal pistol, you have to use it in a very certain way. And even if you use it in that certain way, it doesn't add up because of, like, the effectiveness of Scout class in general and the way Scout works. So, Scout's the fastest class in the game, alright? He runs super fast. So that means the downtime you have, if you have low health, can easily be compensated by you just running back and grabbing a health pack. Or something along those lines. Because you're fast, you can run and you can grab stuff, and you can get out of trouble pretty quickly. So, a lot of times, when you should just be running back and shooting, like here, you can just run back and grab the health pack. And there I forgot to switch to the short stop because that gives you additional health on pickup. But you can see here we're trying to heal up and do some shooting, but we can't really get in close because we're kind of fragile, and we're using the short stop, which is a weapon I can never really get a good feel of. Sometimes I feel it's really good, and other times I feel it's awful. I can never get a good read on that. It's like it has an identity crisis. But back to the whole issue with, like, heal and effective health and stuff like that. So you have the basic stuff where I shoot at you and you shoot at me, and I shoot faster, therefore you die faster, and since you die faster, you're not able to stay alive as long to do more damage, as opposed to when I'm going for, like, the durability route, whereas I am going to shoot less faster or slower, and you are going to be shooting longer and therefore do more damage, but I'm also going to heal at the same time. It's similar to, like, the philosophy behind, like, the Battalion's backup and the buff banner, is that buff banner is I hurt everyone else more, or the Battalion's backup, which is everybody else hurts me less. And here we go for a super fly, and of course you don't take full damage. Boop, and then you try to be a boss and heal back up, but you can't land a single shot, and then you die. So with the short stop, you will go for a fly. every once in a while, and it works all right with the Pretty Boy's pocket pistol. So the issue remains that you die faster and you heal at the same time. So you might, like there, spend a lot of ammo healing and then get hit by a couple of stray bullets and you're back to less to where you started. So a lot of people are like, oh, if you want to heal, use Mad Milk. And my answer to that is absolutely. If you have Mad Milk, there's really no reason to use the Pretty Boy's pocket pistol because A, Mad Milk helps everybody, and B, you don't take additional damage when you throw the Mad Milk. And there, I had full health, and I shot him, and I got more health, and it didn't overheal me either. So, unless you've taken damage, and you are in the position of not taking damage, but you are also in a spot where you can hit them, and the enemies won't necessarily hit you, then sure, the Pretty Boy's pocket pistol is better than what it was. I would say it's not, if you look at the spreadsheet, it's not in the red, which is absolutely terrible. It's now in the orange, which is, it's kind of bad. Or it's bad, but it's not garbage. Pretty much. So it's like it's upped itself a tier, but the main issue with it is, of course, the fact that you take more damage, and like here, like if you have afterburn, you won't effectivize as well either because you won't hit with every shot. And if you want to hit with every shot, you need to be closer. But if you're closer, the enemy's going to hit you more, and if they hit you more, you die faster because it's 20%. You're just a lousy scout, and you die so quickly. Can't imagine anyone would ever use this with, you know, the candy cane, which also gives additional damage penalty. So, random crits are great, as we all know, especially when we get them. Multiple times in a row, in fact. But I'd say, like, this is more like, because essentially it functions the exact same way as it did last video, it's only better. So I think this time we better start thinking about, like, how do you want this weapon to work, because essentially we have one other weapon that works like this, and that, or two others, excuse me. We have the Blutsager for the medic, which really impacts the medic's ability to self-heal, but like gives him a lot of heal on hit, so that's the one. And then we have the black box for the soldier, which recently got a tweak and works pretty well. The way they effectivized or penalized the damage output you can do with that weapon is that they simply just made you do less damage. Now there's a lot of different ways you can make less damage happen. Valve's favorite way of doing it is make you shoot faster and then do less damage. That's like their favorite thing. Like the family business is like, oh yeah, you shoot faster, but you do less damage, but you do less damage overall, including the reload and everything. So like giving a stat like more and less on the same thing doesn't really make a lot of sense. So there's a couple of ways you can do that, like limit your ability. You can either make the enemies die slower or you die faster. In this case, the Pretty Boy pocket pistol got both of those bad stats that make it not a good weapon on him, like the fact that you shoot slower and that you take more damage. By itself, you should never ever want that. It's like, yeah, I want to get some slight minor heal that hardly ever matters because the amount is so low, and I want to not be able to kill anyone as quickly as I did before, and I want to take more damage as well. That's kind of like the Pretty Boy's pocket pistol. So there's a couple of ways we can fix this, and by we I mean Valve. One thing, it's to figure out exactly where we want to go with this, like basically the principles of balance. Where do you stand on that? So if this thing is supposed to heal on hit, then the question is, how is it supposed to heal on hit? Is it supposed to just shoot less and then shoot slower and then heal? I'd say that would be fine. If you remove, I think if you removed the damage taken penalty and maybe remove the fact that you don't take fall damage, I think this weapon would be all right. It would be not in, I think it would be often good if you're the kind of scout that shoots people on the way back. But here, with a current you take more damage things, you want to use it when you don't take damage, and that's when you're retreating or really far away. But Scout's a class that really thrives when you're up close, so it doesn't really reward you for playing close. It actually punishes you. And here we got some heals and it didn't even matter because we got shot anyway. So there's another one. I think if you want to keep the the additional damage taken stat, is to make it be able to overheal. That way you change it from it being a weapon that you use when you run away or are low on health You can still use it for that, but you can also use it as an engagement starter. Like if you need some overheal a little bit, you can just shoot and gain some overheal before you start, but you still have to switch weapons. So overall, your durability is up, but your damage is still down. And everybody will know you're coming, and it still shoots slower. And I think, you know, where a lot of weapons do less damage, like the Liberty Launcher and the Airstrike and a lot of other weapons that just do less damage, just having the less damage stat is kind of, at least for like from a game design perspective, it's kind of hard to feel that out. Same with taking additional damage. Like if you have 20% damage penalty on you, there's really no way of you to notice that until you just die. Because like your health is normally the same with every other weapon, and then suddenly you just die really quickly. So my favorite way of doing this, which I think should be the one, is that if you want to have less or more damage taken, you should just reduce the overall health, because that's a clear indication that you actually have less health. Like the Sandman did that in the beginning, and in the beginning they had a very clear idea of how to balance stuff. It's like, okay, we want him to take more damage, so we just give him less health, and it's clearly noticeable, and you really feel that. However, with the Pretty Boy Pocket Pistol, you have effectively a lot less health than you have with the Sandman out, and there's really no way to tell that. And also, the opponents that shoot you will suddenly do more damage to you when you're just holding a weapon, so it's not really like, suddenly your body shots will do like 20% more damage, and you will be up to, you know, a different number than you normally do. And the same with the headshots, like why did I do 173 or whatever number it is. So I think but the way, what I really wanted to say about the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol in terms of it being good is that it shoots slower. It clearly shoots slower, but each bullet does the same amount of damage as the regular pistol. So that means, I think that's probably the best way of balancing damage, is to either increase firing speed or slower fire speed. I think that's the best way to kind of show players how their damage is done. And watch this sick scout kill by Coyote on me, because I'm awful as scout. And right here, shooting there, if I used the pistol, I would have shot faster, and I didn't need a heal, and I didn't get any overheal either. So for my proposal, I propose one of two fixes for this weapon. Okay, but check this out. All right, so we shoot up and we heal actually a lot, take out a medic as well, and then we're gonna use this, and then he gets covered in Girardi, and we hit by a rocket and a bomb, and we're dead. But he has 11 health, so that's fine. So there, it would actually help somewhat, despite that. So I would like to see this weapon be either able to overheal before you start and just keep it as it is, or just remove the increased damage penalty that you get by taking damage, and just remove that and keep it as it is, and I would say it's fine. Because in terms of effective health, killing your opponents faster often serves as healing. Same with the pyro, with the air blast. If you extinguish someone that has just been lit on fire, you basically heal them 50 damage instantly, kind of like effective health. And it should be the same way with this too. Like, oh yeah, I shoot faster, so therefore I will kill you before you're able to do damage onto me. If you look at everybody doing damage like water faucets, like just a constant stream of damage. So that's the way to do it. So like if you were to fix, let's say, other weapons using this method, you could easily just make the Liberty Launcher have four stock rockets, same amount of damage, but just slower fire, like faster rockets, but slower firing speed. And by having slower firing speed, your overall DPS goes down, and it will be a situational weapon that's better at longer ranges when the firing speed doesn't really matter all that much. But if you get up and close and personal, the stock will really do well. So, with that in mind, let's take more look at how this actually functions. So you have to switch this around, and it's when you're on low health. It's like low health and retreating, you can really save your day. When I reviewed all this footage, there was not a single instance where the heal I got from the pistol actually saved me in any way. Because there was medics, health packs, and stuff like that negated this thing right here. And also, don't be afraid of crit soldiers to try and jump around and save, and hopefully medic doesn't leave you alone. So I played with this basically with you guys on the German headquarters server. Some of you guys might have seen this from the previous days, because this was recorded fairly recently. But here in situations like this, where the enemy is all clustered together and they're really far away, and you can just run out and do some damage, it works pretty great. All right, it does fine. In that one situation where the enemies aren't really focusing you, you're kind of low on health, you don't have a medic, you just picked up the health pack, you want to return to that full health, it works better. However, I did not I did not compare it to just running regular pistol or like critical or bonk or any of the other utilities, because every other unlock is objectively better than the Pretty Boy's pocket pistol. Because if you're going for survival, you kind of want the Mad Mill, because if you're on fire, you can extinguish that stuff. And look at this. This is what I mean by it doesn't matter, right? So we slow it down. You can see the heavy's having issues hitting us, and we're like, all right, we're gonna take some damage. Time to heal up. 18, 5. All right, 33. We had 18 damage, we didn't actually take any damage, and then we ran back into the medic. So it's completely pointless, and it took longer to kill the heavy than it should have. So that's another issue with that weapon. So also getting Uber is fine. Keep in mind it is a secondary, so you should only be using it sometimes. And here it's kind of really redundant. If you like use it and you're being healed, then that's a bit of an issue. And like the falling, the removal of fall damage is also kind of, well, if you're an all-right scout, you know how to double jump. You can always double jump before you land. But yeah, still pretty not good. So here we have a lot of dudes clumped together. We're getting heals from the medic. We're switching this out. We actually kill somebody, but we will probably have done more damage if we have the pistol, and then we die. The health didn't really matter because the time to death in TF2 is short, but we won anyway, so victory for us, I guess. So we have mostly looked at payload maps, so now we will look at 5 CP maps. Because payload and attack defense works the same, and nobody plays capture the flag, so there we go. So overall, this is still on like the community servers, so people here are pretty competent, normally knows what we're doing, and we saw a candidate for the next week's episode, which is the Huntsman plus Cleaner's Carbine, or Girardi, getting brutally slaughtered. Also, my scout aim is awful, and we were kind of on a roll here. So far, just a basic of Pretty Boy's pocket pistol. It doesn't change the way you act with other classes or how you play scout all that much, so you might run it and hardly ever use it if you're not really a pistol user. But here, like, you take some damage and you're about to retreat, there it's great. Like, in those situations where you're just gonna retreat anyway, you can heal back up if the medic is very busy. And here too, we almost heal back up to full health and the medic hasn't even touched us. But then we just go in and Uber and we get crits and it's good times and we win. Yay. And then of course in victory round you gotta do this to be a boss. You gotta hit everything. And then do the dance. Yeah, butt times. So sometimes you run into dudes and you're like, okay, time to whip out my secondary. Oh, there we go. Oh. Taking additional damage, one shot, I'm dead. And that's pretty much the general idea of this weapon, is that you die so quickly once you first pull it out. Like here, you just put it out to do some damage and whoop, you're instantly dead. Would probably have been dead the same way before, but this is really hard to tell with the, you're not actually visually seeing the reduced damage that you, or the increased damage that you take. So if this thing was to have damage penalty, I would like to see maximum health reduction total, but I don't think that's a good way of doing it. I don't think it should have that at all. Could either just slow the firing speed down even more to kind of compensate for that, but here, like at this range when there's no one really pressuring, you can see we can get a lot of health out of this thing. And also we're all alone. It's like a couple of guys that don't really know what they're doing, so team's gonna cap and we're just gonna hang out here. Do a reload. Sweet. And there we go, another victory. Do the dance. And the butt slap. Butt time. Like Scout says. There's another guy. Stupid Scout. Dumbass hat. So, continuing this. So far, the results have been the same when we've used this. There's not been a single situation from when I reviewed the footage where this actually kept me alive. Either not by by sheer health numbers or the fact that my opponent didn't die fast enough. But then you also have to ask the question, does health on hit on a projectile weapon, does that make any sense? Like right here, we're supposed to have like effective like 60 something health. Here when we had 22, if you go back and review the footage, if any of you ever does that, we would have like 8 health, and then we ran to get hit by a rocket anyway. So even if we had 22 or 8 health, it doesn't matter when you get hit by for 100 damage, right? So it doesn't matter. It's also like the amount of time it hits you. Like there's really no point in having a rocket launcher that has minus 5% damage because everything will die in the same amount of hits, right? So there's like stuff like that that doesn't matter. And Jesus Christ, I picked up this gun, and who plays with this? It looks like I'm running with a porcupine. It looks terrible. I mean, look at this. Like something out of a bad Norwegian comedy, like from the texture on the wall there. So now we took a big hit damage, and of course we have the medic with us, so we're just gonna heal back up, and the medic sees us with the pocket pistol and just heals someone else. And here we spent a lot of bullets taking out a soldier, which could potentially given us the overheal, but we don't get that. So either keep it as it is, plus overheal, or not. So that was community service. What about Valve servers? And the answer is it works on a Valve server because everything works on a Valve server because the players aren't usually as coordinated or as good. So if you are like an okay scout and have okay aim like I do, you're gonna run into sentries that are in spots that you wouldn't thought imaginable and get killed by them. So there we go. Trying to get some pot shots done, getting some damage done as well. And Diamondback surprise! Motherfucker. Didn't see that coming, did you? So Demo Man runs into us and blows himself up. Now we're taking some health. Oh! But the random crit of dreams lets us heal, and oh, a health pack that completely negated those bullets, so we didn't even have to do that. So we could have just used the pistol and grabbed the health pack. So another summary: if you're a scout and you know where the health packs are, you don't need this gun at all. There's absolutely no point because the accuracy is the same as well, just shoots slower. But I do like the way it feels. Like you can feel it is weaker as opposed to other weapons that don't feel as weak. Like a good example of a weapon that like does less damage but it makes sense is kind of like a silenced weapon when you have like the Hitman's Heatmaker, which I've been using a lot lately for the sniper. Like it has a silencer, it makes like a pew sound, and it makes sense that that thing doesn't do as much damage. Also, there's sentries, of course. Doesn't help when you're trying to heal up and there's a sentry there. So let's go back and see if we can revenge kill that sentry. So shoot the heavy, heal back up, and look around, and we just survey the situation. Basic scout stuff. Oh, we're scouting. We see the sentry, so just gonna go down here and do this basically until it goes down. There we go. All right, then get immediately mauled by the engineer. Was mad. I killed the sentry. So we battle another scout, we come out on top. There's a spy there, so we heal up on him, kill him as well, do the reload, and we get hit while we're reloading, so it didn't make a sense, and then we die anyway by taking more damage because being greedy. So it's not trash, it's just bad most of the time, as opposed to running regular pistol and effective isolatingly shooting faster, thereby making the opponent's damage output lower because they die faster. And same goes the other way. Like, I haven't done a side-by-side comparison of who wins when you shoot, but it would be cool to do. So let's do that right now, in fact. All right, so close range. Pistol wins. 38 health. All right, what about mid-range? Pistol wins. That's kind of close to mid-range. Anyway, long range. Hey, you lose, not a big surprise. So with that in mind, we're just gonna finish it off here because I think you've seen what you need to do. So if you want to use this weapon properly, use it when retreating and low on health. Do not use it when attacking or in combat because you'll just die. If you're gonna use a pistol, use the pistol. Don't use this thing unless you have a very specific runaway retreat style. Then it does all right with that. So this item is going to be moved from red into the yellow. Still not good, so I propose a couple of fixes, or either. One is just to keep it as it is and remove the additional damage taken. That would be one step to do that, because that will like increase the durability, and then you maybe have to tweak how much health you get per shot as well, because you don't die as quickly when you're holding it. So it kind of makes like I said, like you have more and less damage on the same stat, same like the Darwin Danger Shield, you have more and less health on the same item. It's like, oh, you have more health, but you take more damage to this source. It's like, oh, why didn't you just add a little bit more health and nothing or something? So that's like the thing it suffered. Like it's like 2 steps forward and 1 step back and 2 to the side. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So yeah, 1 step, remove the damage penalty, and also remove the fall damage thing. That could be like another item entirely. And yeah, what was the other one? There was another one, I swear. I forget, because I'm hungry and I haven't eaten, and I'm an idiot. Even though it's post-produced, it's still recorded live. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Overheal. So either keep it as it is and just add the ability to Overheal so you can use it before entering a fight, or remove the damage penalty and keep it as it is. I think that's the 2 choices we have. And of course, if you remove the damage vulnerability, then you have to account for that, so maybe go down to 3 health instead of 5, in case that's a bit much. But you do shoot slower, so that's the thing as well. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully I'll see some great replays and demos from Sniper Madness with the Huntsman and other things, Bushwhacker and submachine gun, or the Cleaner's Carbine, or Jarate. Bye bye!